Hey guys, we have a new week of energy to get into, and I do feel like we've sort of reached a turning point this summer. Things are about to finally start to simmer down a little bit, especially I feel like come the midpoint of this week, kind of start clearing up, moving forward. Some of the resistance or maybe the struggles or the challenges that we've been dealing with, opening up a little bit. And I do feel like a definite function of this energetic shift that is coming in this week is redirecting the energetic focus right now in the realms of relationships and finances. Investments and connections are probably going to take center stage somehow now, and actually throughout the course of the next couple months we are going to see closure and like the turning of a page or things coming to the end somehow in the context perhaps of relationship situations that have been working themselves out since literally maybe like 2018 or 2019, or at least in the course of the past year since like last summer. There are some endings and some transitions coming having to do like specifically with investments and connections, relationships, love and money, and we're gonna really see that start to play out coming in now, moving us through the rest of the summer into September, and then also into Libra season. This year is probably going to be a very interesting Libra season that we have coming up. But yeah, we got a lot to talk about, you guys. Things are changing and I'm here to tell you why. So let's get into our report of the weekend. Let's look at how all this is the weekend. No, Aubrey, this is Monday. Mercury's still retrograde, clearly, as I'm making this video. Let's get into our report of the week, opening our week, and look at how all this is coming together and what it might indicate for us as we proceed through our week. Welcome back to my channel, you guys. Today is Monday, August 26th, 2024. My name is Aubrey. This is your astrological outlook of the day, where we are narrating the shift of the ages. And if you guys stick with me until the end of this video, I have done a collective tarot reading for us today as well. I like to tap the energy field for more than one modality whenever I'm doing these energy overviews, just to get a different, additional energetic perspective on what is going on out there. So there could be some messages in there for you. That is going to happen at the end. Let's start with the astrology, shall we? And, you know, as I mentioned in my intro, I do feel like this week is where things sort of start to simmer down a little bit, start to cool out a little bit, especially after Wednesday. Wednesday, the moon will enter Cancer and Venus will be like just about to enter Libra. Venus will be in an opposition to Neptune. There is sort of just kind of like a more dreamy, idealistic, chilled out nature to the vibes that are going on Wednesday, kind of Thursday and Friday this week while the moon is transiting the sign of Cancer. And through that process, I feel like the focus, like I said, is going to simultaneously shift to really be more centered around the Venus side of life generally. Okay, and from now through literally like the end of Libra season, I think that Venus is kind of going to be running the show. And if you guys have been following my channel, I've been talking for a while now about how I've been perceiving the Venusian energy, the divine feminine energy, to really be going through some of like the most fundamental and significant like energetic recalibrations and changes right now. Distortions in the feminine energy field are in a going through a 7-year-ish process of being eliminated or rectified or righted or removed somehow. We are removing blockages to growth, blockages, well, to authentic growth as well. Anything that has been standing in the way of things being able to unfold according to their authentic and organic nature across the board in many different types of ways are in the process of being eliminated and rectified right now, with Uranus transiting through the sign of Taurus, which is one of Venus's signs. Now, what is extra significant about the past year of this process is that the South Node, ever since last summer, has also been transiting Venus's sign, the other sign of Libra. So we've got Uranus in one of Venus's signs. Uranus is the great awakener and the great rectifier and the galactic fixer. Uranus removes blockages to authentic growth. Uranus transiting through the sign of Taurus. That's why I was just saying all that stuff about, you know, blockages to growth being removed and us like awakening to true potential as a consequence and side effect of that, and like rearranging things in a way that enables and facilitates that latent process of previously blocked but now liberated growth from coming into place and, you know, being able to manifest itself. Uranus transiting through Taurus, and we're getting into the end of this aspect. And as I said, with the South Node, which is karmic endings, essentially transiting Venus's other sign, this is also indicating a major recalibration on like a very karmic level in the context of the other side of the Venusian energy. We've got the Taurian energy being reworked by Uranus, and we've got the Libran energy being released via the South Node's presence there. And the South Node is a point of, you know, as I've said, karmic release and karmic endings. So all of that being said, there is a distortions to growth, or distortions to the feminine energy or the creative process, creating blockages to growth, are going to be meeting their end. Now, in our personal lives, this is going to translate into a lot of things I feel like that are associated with the Venus energy. A lot of relationships are going to finally have run their course, and we are at a point in time when we just need to let it go. We need to move on. We need to walk away. Like, it's at its natural ending, and to continue to try to maintain it would be sort of like working against the natural flow of the way that things are like sort of universally unfolding right now. That type of thing, I think, is what we are going to find ourselves up against in the context of relationships. And even they could be like sort of, you know, financial connections, or these could even be things to do with like legal situations and stuff. We're talking about the sign of Libra. That is going to be the focus in terms of the Venus oriented energy coming up here, you know, really this week, as Venus enters Libra and moving through Virgo season, where Venus will be transiting Libra, and then Libra season follows after that, which is Venus's season as she rules the sign of Libra. And again, this is how we are culminating, wrapping up Uranus's 7-year transit through Venus's sign. And that South Node transiting through Libra, that is also huge. Like, the fact that both Taurus and Libra are being hit like this right now is just giving us this huge indication that things are really about to start to change. And it's a result generally of the opposite of the South Node in Libra to me, which really is the North Node in the sign of Aries. I've been saying since last summer, when when the nodes of the moon entered Aries and Libra, with the North Node in the sign of Aries, this is like our own personal leadership era. And Chiron is in Aries too right now. Like, there's a hero's journey individually that we've sort of all had to go through. And this is how the Uranus transit, which is about this radical awakening to our own potential, to our own worth, like to our own value and our own creative like talents and stuff like that, our ability to translate what we have inside into something physical, tangible, manifest in the world that can provide some type of security or beauty or abundance somehow or something. We are tapping our inner resources, then we're awakening to how to do that when we have Uranus transiting through the sign of Taurus. It's also awakening us on some level to the true value of things, the true potential of things generally. And that's why I've been saying, you know, anything that is blocking or not in alignment with true authentic growth is what it's finding its way out right now. And it's going to be like what it comes down to. It's going to be like the self-image that we are coming to align with now versus the self-image that we've defined ourselves by in the past as a result of the groups that we've been a part of and the roles that we felt we need, or the images that we felt we needed to play or portray in order to receive something of value somehow. There's this whole give and take thing that is sorting itself out right now as well. And I'm telling you guys, as we move forth through this energy, anything that is like not real, like anything that is like superficial or just surface level, where there's like no depth, no complexity, no layers, no realness, or where it's just like a facade, it's going to become very unappealing. Like, people are not going to be finding and attraction and things that are just superficial and surface level as we move through the fall and into this Libra season. And there's definitely going to be shifting preferences that are orienting themselves around authenticity, we can say for sure. As Venus actually enters her sign of Libra this year, the first thing that she's going to do is set up with an exact trine to Pluto at 0 degrees of the sign of Aquarius. So we're going to be desiring depth of connection, okay, as we redefine what we value and the types of relationships that we want to be involved in and that we want to create moving forward. So especially in terms of relationship dynamics, we are moving into a period of time where there's going to be a lot of endings coming through, where we are gaining closure and finally walking away from things. Now, let's talk specifically about the aspects and the transits that we do have going on that are a focal point this week. Now, number one, of course, Mercury is stationing direct in the sign of Leo this week. Really, though, the main planet being activated is going to be Venus, which again is why I am going so hard on this Venus relationship situation, money situation themes coming in right now. Like every day, we've got something going on with Venus this week. On Tuesday, we're going to have the moon form a square to Venus from the sign of Gemini. The moon, Tuesday is actually probably going to be our busiest day of the week. The moon will be transiting through the sign of Gemini, forming a conjunction to Mars, forming a conjunction to Jupiter, a square to Saturn, but also a square to Venus. So we've got that going on Tuesday. But on Tuesday, Venus is also going to be an exact trine to Uranus. On Wednesday, she's going to be an exact opposition to Neptune. On Thursday, she enters Libra, her sign, which is a vibe shift that we've got going on, and really emphasizing the Venus Libra tone of things even more. And also, as she enters her sign of Libra, as I just mentioned, she'll hit that 0 degree Libra and form that 0 degree exact air sign trine with Pluto retrograde in the sign of Aquarius. That's how she starts her journey through her sign this year. And then once she enters the sign of Libra, she is immediately going to start coming into a conjunction with both the Black Moon and the South Node, who are also in a conjunction in the sign of Libra right now, and that conjunction will come exact on September 2nd into the 3rd, when we also have our new moon and the new moon in Virgo. So that's going to be going on in correlation with Venus and the Black Moon and the South Node all in exact conjunction. So that is going to be a very defining feature of our new moon in Virgo that we're going to have coming up here. We also still have Venus and Mars in a square to start our week as well. So all together now, we have Venus in a square to Mars. We have Venus in a trine to Uranus this week. We have Venus in an opposition to Neptune this week. We have Venus in a trine to Pluto this week. We have Venus in conjunction to both the Black Moon and the South Node this week. We've got Venus entering her sign of Libra this week. And we've also got, of course, Uranus and the South Node in Venus's signs of Libra, and the moon will be activating Venus as well. So, I mean, obviously, it goes without saying that this is going to put quite an energetic dominance in the realms of Venus energy. A lot of energy being applied for the ways, or in the context of the ways that the Venusian Venus energy manifests in our lives. Venus, of course, primarily rules love and money, attractions, desires, values, preferences, connections, relations, and also peace, balance, harmony, justice, image and aesthetic, material attachments and possessions, things to do with finances, assets, resources, value, worth, how we receive, what we're receptive to, beauty, love, matters of the heart, generally, creativity and fertility. And as I've been saying, in the feminine energy, the divine feminine energy is ruled by Venus, and with Uranus in the South Node, I've talked about this, and I've been talking about this. Now, of course, also being joined by the Black Moon, who's in her 9-month transit of the sign of Libra right now as well. It's been a work in progress, whatever's been going on. Like, there's a good chance that a lot of this could be dating back to 2018, 2019, and maybe things that we began to notice about people, or or situations that began to maybe have some cracks or start to fall apart somehow back then. Like, maybe finally finding some type of resolution in terms of what is coming up now, and moving through the rest of the winter, towards next spring, and the end of the South Node transit through the sign of Libra. I do think that, by the time the South Node leaves the sign of Libra, we are really going to find ourselves sitting in a different place in terms of our surroundings, okay, or the people and the vibes essentially that we are interacting with, and the groups and associations that we have going on, what we're involving ourselves with, what we're connecting to, who we're relating to. I think there's sort of like a great shakeup that's going on right now on a more personal level, in terms of universe kind of like unplugging certain interpersonal dynamics that maybe have been plugged into each other for quite a while, and sort of like making new connections in different places. But the ultimate outcome is going to be like a much greater illumination. Like, I will also say, this is also a theme I've been touching on lately, and is represented by the North Node transit through the sign of Aries. There could be, over the course of this next couple months, like, a lot of people could find themselves in situations and stuff where they're having to face some type of fear of like learning to be alone and do things alone, and like have to kind of like go it alone, regardless of how difficult it is maybe to like leave something behind, because there's just this knowing, or we just come to a point where we realize, like, if we don't, we're betraying ourselves on some level, and like we can't continue to do that anymore. Remember, this deep, authentic need for like personal self-expression, and the self-empowerment that is derived from our ability to like redefine ourselves right now and reinvent ourselves right now in alignment with this higher purpose, or this like original blueprint almost, also, that we could be awakening to as a component of this, that is really driving us forward. Like, we cannot continue to define ourselves by other people's reality and deny or betray the calling that is, arising, or that we're awakening to within us. And as a result, a lot of shakeups are going to be happening in the realms of relationships. A lot of endings are going to be happening in the realms of relationships. People are going to have to, again, like maybe face a season of being in hermit mode or being alone, but the outcome of it is going to be actually extremely empowering, and really facilitate and support our process to redefine our relationships in a way that contribute to our development, instead of maybe suffocating the process of growth that has been trying to come about within us. So the rearranging that's going on right now, even if it's painful, there could be, a lot of painful endings. These are not likely to be like easy things that we're doing necessarily, but it's like, we know it's the right thing. Again, this theme, Jupiter square Saturn, like, having to make the hard choice, having to do the right thing, even though it's the hard thing and it's not what we want to do, but the benefit in doing what's right, even if it's what's difficult, is where the rewards, I guess, will ultimately be reaped. So it is going to a good place ultimately. People are also going to be letting go of a lot of like shadows that maybe they hadn't even been realizing they'd been holding within, or like karmic wounds or toxicity that they've been carrying. They're going to be becoming aware of it and doing what is necessary to heal as well over this period of time, which is going to fundamentally change people also in almost like miraculous or unrecognizable ways. People are going to be spontaneously reinventing themselves. If you know a lot of people, you'll probably see a lot of people that just spontaneously are like a whole different person, operating according to like a whole different blueprint over this next couple of weeks for whatever reason. There's going to also be, as I've said, this growing desire for something more real, something more authentic, and anything that is fake or surface or shallow or facade or just like the image and nothing more is going to lose its appeal, and people are going to just like rather not, just lose interest in stuff like that. Also, I feel like in that same regard, a lot of the like Hollywood and celebrity culture and stuff like that, I think is going to lose its influence and lose its sway to a pretty significant extent moving through the rest of the summer as well, especially as a result of like this most recent Mercury retrograde back into the sign of Leo, and just everything, a lot of other things that are playing out right now. But people are going to be willing, I think, to sacrifice like the need to maintain some type of perfect image or perfect like external perception somehow in favor of what is real, right? Like we don't want superficiality anymore. The fear of not being seen or perceived as perfect or having it all together is going to become less relevant than the need to be perceived as authentic and one's true self. And again, like that's what we're going to be valuing in others also. So that I also think is going to create over time, this subtle shift in terms of what is appealing to people on a mass level and where the attention is going. Okay, so that is generally where all of this is going, I think, and why relationships will be relevant during this period. We are redefining ourselves by way of redefining our image, our finances, our relationships, moving through the rest of the summer and through this next couple of months. So it could be a very unstable time, therefore sort of goes without saying in relationships. Again, like what we're connected to, what we're committed to, what we're invested in, like all of these things have to do with the Venus energy, what we feel like is worth giving ourselves to in order to extract some type of external benefit as well, that type of thing. And we again, with Venus entering the sign of Libra right now and the black moon and the south node there, a black moon in the sign of Libra, this can bring up fears of, on one hand, not being perfect, and on the other hand, being cast out in some type of way, being like not accepted, being alone, being isolated. So as a result of that, these are the shadow side issues and the fears that are likely to be more triggered on a more collective level, especially once we get to the new moon in Virgo and moving throughout that cycle. Okay, so if that is the case, and if you do find yourself in a position where you are having to face some type of fear of not being included, being cast out, being kicked out, being alone, like something to do with finances or something like that, like we need to learn to actually, is to the greatest extent of our ability, try to embrace whatever is going on, especially if it is that more solitary journey right now. Like I was talking about earlier, a lot of people are going to be facing the fear, but it's for the purpose of us actually learning how to be alone, how to become our own best friend and our own companion. It's like we're being pushed to really truly find ourselves, and we can't do that if we're being saturated by the energy and the ideas and the opinions of other people. This is about Mercury stationing retrograde in the sign of Leo, rediscovering our personal creative power and our potential associated with that without this overlay of other people's ideas about what that should be. Okay, so solitary journeys right now are those of personal discovery, and they should be embraced and not feared, even if it feels like it's, the scariest thing maybe in the world, because obviously it's not always fun to have to go out there and be like a lone wolf and go our own way about stuff and stray from the pack. But if our business is to really find ourselves, then that's one of the best ways to do it. So I think that's the reason why a lot of people are going to be having to go through this learning process in that context right now. But these experiences are leading to a more fulfilling and empowering situation that will come following, that is a result of this opportunity that we have to get to know ourselves again. So this is an opportunity to get to know ourselves so that moving forward, what we are magnetizing and attracting into our lives is actually supporting our growth and bringing a much greater level of fulfillment than, maybe what we have been aligned with up until this point. That maybe at this point, even though it may have been very necessary and everything we needed our whole entire lives, like at this point it is functioning as a hindrance to the furtherance of that growth. It's like the cocoon, right? Or like whatever casing something grows up within, it's necessary and like for a certain point in time in order to provide protection and nourishment and like all of that. But at some point in time, you know, we have to expand beyond that. And if we don't, then we're literally we're gonna die. Like, we're not gonna survive. Like, our, you know, the life force is not going to expand into what it was created to become, the butterfly in this case. And yeah, that definitely wouldn't be a good thing. So that's sort of I think where we're at right now, outgrowing a lot of what has brought us to the point that we're at now, and having to go through whatever comes along with transitioning out of that past experience and into whatever is coming next, even if it's something, you know, that we've got to do alone. Of course, with all this Venus energy, like I said, there's likely to be a financial component of things. This could, you know, really be manifesting in terms of what's going on with markets or economic situations, generally things to do with value, things to do with currency. People could actually, honestly, I do think, you know, as we move through the week, we're going to have the Venus-Neptune opposition. Like I said, people could be overly idealistic about things, perhaps, that then take sort of a sudden turn as Venus enters Libra and begins to come into that conjunction with the South Node and the Black Moon. Venus, Black Moon, and the South Node, because Venus and Libra, like, this is such a financially oriented energy. The Black Moon, that's triggering fears, and the South Node, this is losses, okay? So there could be some fears of financial losses that are really playing into things somehow over this next coming week, or the next coming weeks, or it could be relationship oriented as well. But again, loss, endings, release somehow, like, this is what we're dealing with. But it could also be releasing us from fears that have held us captive in a state that was blocking our growth. So it's the endings that are coming through right now are ultimately positive, they're ultimately for the best, and they're ultimately necessary in order for us to go through this process of reinventing and redefining and re-empowering ourselves, which is the other side of this coin that the Mars Aries energy in the sign, with the North Node in the sign of Aries, is representing right now. But with Venus opposing Neptune this week, Mercury still retrograde and stationing, I do not think, again, that this is a great time for investments or for commitments, especially like new things. They likely won't go as planned, or they just won't turn into much. Whenever we've got Neptune and Venus making a harsh aspect together, it's not the best time to get involved in things with other people, because Neptune breaks things down. It doesn't help to build things up. And so a lot of times the outcome of harsh aspect Venus-Neptune connections can be disappointment. And also with Venus trining Uranus, this is also like unexpected outcomes to things. And Venus and Pluto trining, you know, this is very powerful creative force, but it can also be I don't know, Mercury retrograde. Like, I don't think this is the week where we really want to get involved with too much. Mercury does station on Wednesday. It's interesting because stationing in Leo, which is also a sign that rules the heart, joy, passion, romance, creativity, and love. So this really does fit right into the story as well, in terms of people ready to decide, ready to make a choice, having a better understanding of something, perhaps pertaining to personal creative self-expression or matters of the heart, rediscovering what really makes us feel alive, and as a result, what it is that we value, what we find to be worth it, and what we want to put or be connected to or be attached to or put our resources into. Okay, so the Mercury retrograde stationing in the sign of Leo also, I feel like, is really reinforcing a lot of the same stuff that the Venus energy is sort of expressing right now as well. And we'll talk more about Mercury retrograde, or Mercury stationing direct, actually, on Wednesday for our Wednesday video. In terms of specific energy, what we have playing out on Monday itself, busy day to start our week. We have a Gemini moon going on. Of course, you guys know we have Jupiter and Mars in the sign of Gemini right now. So as the moon transits Gemini, we're coming into a conjunction with Jupiter. We're coming into a conjunction with Mars as well, and therefore the square to Saturn, also the square to Venus coming up on Tuesday. But Probably a busy and kind of weird week. We have the moon squaring the sun on Monday, third quarter square moon, moon in Gemini squaring the sun in Virgo, while Mercury is preparing to station direct in Leo. I do think that people are generally going to be looking on the bright side of things, actually trying to be positive, trying to be optimistic. Despite maybe some of the challenges that we do have going on, we do still have a lot of squares playing out. As I said, we have our third quarter square moon that is happening on Monday, the moon in Gemini squaring sun in Virgo. We've got Venus and Mars in a square, of course. We've got Jupiter and Saturn in a square, of course. And another energy that we have pending and we are moving into now is Mars coming into a square with Neptune over the course of the next week or so as well, which we'll get into that. Probably we'll start talking about it in the next report, but that's another square energy that we have building out there. But there is a sort of desire with the moon in Gemini coming into a conjunction with Jupiter and Venus opposite Neptune to see the best in things in people, an inner sense of like hope and belief and optimism in what people are saying or in our ideas right now. So I do think that people are probably going to be looking for the bright side of things on Monday for the most part, although as we move into Tuesday, there could be some real anger issues going on as the moon in Gemini conjuncts Mars, and we'll get there in a minute. I do think, though, as I said, by Wednesday, we should find that some of the stress is like lightening a little bit. Some of the tension and contention that has been so energetically abundant over the past month is simmering down, and the energy is shifting from, action and events to these commitment and connection oriented things going on. So busy opening to our week, you guys. Tuesday, it could be quite a conflict-oriented day with the Moon Mars lineup. Arguments of a verbal nature are more likely with the Gemini energy. People could have very unrealistic expectations or desires about things that cause anger and conflicts or issues as well. With that Venus opposite Neptune, that's like very, very idealistic. And with the Moon Mars conjunction, it could be causing frustration, or it could also be like anger over things not like meeting our expectation or arriving at like our ideal, you know what I mean? Like not being what we feel like they should be, and that being a sense of, or being a cause of irritation or conflict somehow. So there's that could be going on Tuesday. I do think that with the Mars Moon conjunction, Mercury on the precipice of stationing direct, you're gonna want to think before you speak. Okay, just, maybe be a little extra conscious of that. Don't say something out of anger that you're going to have to correct because you sort of regret it, which could be things that people are doing also with the way that energy is presenting on Tuesday. But other than that, as I said, things should calm down. The moon will enter Cancer on Wednesday. Then the rest of the week is mostly about feelings and relationships. So we have that. Monday, the Earth is at 4 degrees of Pisces. I think that this is a very good description, metaphorically, symbolically, for kind of maybe just like the underlying vibe that we have going on to get the week started. The Sabian symbol of 4 Pisces is heavy traffic on a narrow isthmus linking two seaside resorts. So heavy traffic, overcrowded, movement being like repressed or limited or contained could very much kind of like still be a vibe hung over from the Mars, Jupiter, Saturn square energy that we've got going on. Kind of just a little bit maybe like cumbersome and things kind of getting in our way. Interference could still be present a bit on Monday. However, we do have Mercury at 22 degrees of Leo on Monday. That's one of my favorite Sabian symbols. That Sabian symbol is a carrier pigeon fulfilling his mission. Mercury is about to station direct. So I do think that a necessary message has been delivered or received somehow as of, the energy of this week, and changes are about to happen. People are really going to they have changed their mind about things, and now they're going to start making decisions in alignment with that, which is going to lead to just a lot of generalized changes that are happening in the context of connections and commitments moving forward. As I've said, more times than I am sure that I needed to so far in this report. So that's what I have to say, you guys, about the astrology as we have it. Opening our week this week, let's talk about the tarot for a minute. I mean, it is we're likely to have received some insight in a period of withdrawal, or that is causing us to take a period of withdrawal where we are having to make some perhaps type of difficult choice or something, to walk away from something perhaps, or that maybe has us feeling a little bit, you know, sad or regretful or lonely, but it's like we know that we have to do it because it's the right choice, even if it's the hard choice. It's like, even if we need to sort of go our own way and do it alone, and even if that doesn't necessarily make us happy, like, we know at the end of the day that's where our true victory will come from, and we've got to do what we've got to do, even maybe if we don't want to do it. And the reason why I'm saying those things, I mean, we had two different like kind of series of cards come out. First, we had the Hermit with the Five of Cups. The Hermit, of course, is a period requiring a period of isolation in order to come to some type of deep inner illumination about something. And this could, with the Five of Cups here, this could be resolving past issues or past guilt or resentments or shame or something that we've been harboring inside that we need to gain some type of realization about, that causes us to make a choice or a decision that is ultimately working in our best interest somehow. Or it could be realizing that we need to do something, or we need to make a choice or a decision that we are not super happy about, and that maybe we would rather not do, but we know that it's necessary because that is the only way that we can like truly move forward somehow. I mean, that we know that like that's the right thing to do. Look at these other cards that are coming out. We literally have the Hierophant and the King of Swords. Like, that's knowing what's right. And then we have the Two of Swords here. Okay, it's like the Two of Swords, you know, generally is about having to make some type of blind choice or blind decision, or not really knowing what we want to do. But it could also be like not wanting to look, or not wanting to see, or wanting to like remain in a state of naivety about something that is difficult that we know we've got to do, but like we can't hide from the truth. Like, it's coming down from the heavens. It's undeniable. Like, we know what's right, and we're going to have to, you know, the Hermit, like, face the darkness and find the light, even if we don't want to, even if it makes us sad. And like on the back of the deck, we had the Six of Wands. That's the victory card. So whatever, either Five of Cups energy, like guilt, shame, negative feelings, we are realizing we need to release or let go of, or whatever difficult choice we may need to make that maybe is hard, but you know, at the end of the day, we know it's right. It's like the ultimate outcome from this is be returning to a state of like feeling like we have, like, being able to be proud of ourselves, like that we've conquered something, that we've been victorious over something, okay, that we've accomplished something that we can feel good about at the end of the day. Okay, so I don't know, these cards seem to be reinforcing quite significantly what is pending, I feel like, in the energy field. But with the King of Swords and the Hierophant here, and like, we know what needs to be done. But I think a lot of people are going to be resisting it and not wanting to look at it, just like maybe pretending that it's not happening. But that is probably just going to force the need for the Hermit, right? That's what I was talking about, like having to go into hermit mode, like having to go into isolation, because there needs to be like some sense of illumination of something that is gained in order to, or I don't know, we need like, it's almost like there's, even if we want to hide from the truth of something, it's not really possible in this energy, which is also what's indicated from the astrology. So there's that. Maybe it applies, or you can relate to it somehow. Let's get a synchronicity card now. God, Spirit, Universe. One more piece of guidance or insight or information that we can use as we start our week this week. What should we keep in mind? What would it benefit us to, okay, to hold in our hearts? And it says you're protected. All right, so no fear as we go through this period of time, for he shall give his angels charge over you to keep you in all your ways. Psalms 91:11. Know your guardian angel is with you always, protecting you from harm. Be assured he keeps you safe when fears overwhelm you. Read the 91st Psalm in its entirety and rest in the assurance you are protected. So again, you know, any fears that may be coming up over this period of time, we truly are not alone. God, Spirit, you are protected. So any fears that may trigger over this, you know, next coming period of time, especially in the context of, you know, maybe the fear of being alone or something like that, you're never truly alone. This is a direct message that we have protection and your angels and spirit guides, God, Great Spirit, universe with you. So no fear, you guys. And that is our advice and guidance to get our week started. So that's what I have to say today, you guys. Message from the stars, message from the cards. I hope you liked the video. If you did like it, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, you guys. Share it with your friends if you think that they would be interested in this type of astrology content as well. Leave me comments, you guys. I am super grateful for your presence here. It is so meaningful to me when you guys share your experiences with me. If you're having experiences that do line up with what I'm talking about in these videos, please let me know in my comment section below. If you want to know what's on this here whiteboard, I have there's a link in my description box to a Facebook group where I post images of these boards. And come back with me on Wednesday, you guys. There should be a video out for Wednesday. I'm not guaranteeing 3 videos this week because there's been a lot going on in my world lately, but I'm gonna do my best. And as of right now, I think I should have a video out on Wednesday, so I'm going to say I'll see you Wednesday. And we've got Mercury stationing direct to talk about on Wednesday. That's always a beautiful day, and I will be here to talk all about it. So you should come back with me. I will see you next time, guys. Have a beautiful intro to your week. And until next time, bye.